Tiger Minor League Report proudly presents the Tigers Draft Series, a series of YouTube videos in which we look back on past Detroit Tiger MLB drafts. 2002 MLB Draft was one that, to some Detroit Tiger fans, may or may not provoke memories. The parallels to this draft may be similar to what we witnessed here in 2021. This draft was the first one under General Manager Dave Dombrowski, who got the final approval of the pick. Greg Smith, the Director of Scouting and Player Development, and Al Avila, who was Assistant GM at the time, were responsible for running the draft meetings and talent evaluations.
So Scott Moore was a pretty big kid at 6'2", 195, but he was a shortstop in high school out of Cypress in California. Jim Callis, who was writing for Baseball America at the time, before moving on to Pipeline, said this about the infielder. He has a quick bat and consistent ability to hit line drives. He ran a 6.89 second 60-yard dash and showed polished defensive tools. He also said that if Detroit picked Moore, he would likely move to third base. He was committed to Cal State Fullerton, and he was kind of a big deal in an era before prospect showcases were all over the place. He was one of the first players who appeared on Perfect Game, ranking 13th nationally. And here's what Perfect Game had to say about him at their 2001 National Showcase. Moore is for real. Other than being a bit better than average runner, there's not much else to debate. Very good actions, plus arm, plus bat, and can hit both ways. Should go in one of the first rounds from what we see.
The Tigers were on a never-ending quest to find a third baseman, or for that matter, an effective first-round draft pick that was on their way up. At the time, Brandon Inge just graduated from the top 10 Detroit Tigers Baseball America list and was settling into his second season in a Tigers uniform. He'll play a role later in the story. 2002 preseason Baseball America top 10 Detroit Tigers prospect list did not even include the number 8th overall pick from 2000, Matt Wheatland, who was already out of the organization after one season at West Michigan in 2001. The Tigers selected him with the 8th overall selection in that 2000 draft and gave him a $2.15 million signing bonus. Wheatland started in single-A ball, but started experiencing pain in his throwing shoulder. With numerous problems discovered, Wheatland had 3 surgeries on his shoulders in 2 years and was eventually released by the Tigers. He ended up going to the Houston Astros, which didn't really pan out, and he ended up with the San Diego Surf Dogs in indie ball. So anybody who's familiar with that team, Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson was also on the team as well. Michael Woods was drafted as a power-hitting, base-stealing threat, never made it to Detroit, and would go as high as Erie and was out of the organization by the end of 2005. Reasons for that was knee injuries wiped out his entire 2002 season. It was never the same player that showed as a two-way athlete. He ended up trying out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a couple of years later.
So for the Tigers, their preseason top 10 in Baseball America before the 2002 season looked like this. It was led by Nate Cornejo, then followed with Omar Infante, Eric Munson, Kenny Baugh, Ramon Santiago, Andres Torres, Nook Logan, Andy Van Hecken, Cody Ross, and Jack Hanahan. Now, it kind of makes you chuckle now, but all of them but Sammy Baugh made the majors, and 5 of them had solid careers. Ramon Santiago, Cody Ross, Omar Infante, Andres Torres, and Jack Hanahan all played for, I think Hanahan only played for 8 years. The rest of them played for more than 10 years. So, that's not a bad top 10 when you go back to it. And we'll revisit the 2001 draft at some point because it was kind of odd. They had 4 of the first 65 picks and none of them made the majors, but then they got Jack Hanahan in the 3rd, Mike Ravello in the 4th, Ryan Rayburn in the 5th, Don Kelly in the 8th. And then they dropped $1 million on Humberto Sanchez as what used to be called the draft and follow in the 31st round. And they, of course, later traded him for Gary Sheffield. But as we said, this is we're focusing on 2002 here and specifically Scott Moore. And Baseball America was pretty positive about Scott Moore. Now, imagine reading this comp as a Tigers fan and not getting excited. Quote, as an all-around player, Moore resembles Chipper Jones with good hands, good body control, and a good baseball body. And one of the things, when we were looking at the old Baseball America draft report on Scott Moore, I was struck by how similar it is to the guy that a lot of people will want for the Tigers this year, Marcelo Meyer. And I'll read some more of it. To see, Moore has legit speed at 6.7 seconds. I think Meyer is in the same range. In arm strength, 89 miles an hour across the infield. Excellent instincts for the game. His best tool is a left-handed bat, Marcelo Meyer, that has been compared to that of Athletics third baseman Eric Chavez at a comparable stage of development. Scouts say he should have no trouble adapting to Wood while projecting 20 to 25 home runs down the road. He's quick to the ball. His bat stays in the hitting zone, and he gets great extension. That just kind of reminds me of what they're saying about Marcelo Meyer now. Although, Rogelio, you did ask somebody who was around for that, and what did he say?
I think Meyer is pretty different than Moore, but Moore is a good example, and there are plenty of big high school bat not working out. I actually saw Moore in 2003 for West Michigan. Was already struggling. He had real power, just couldn't get it enough, and the athleticism declined when forced to positions where more hitting was required.
So our friends over at Bless You Boys did a great piece looking back at the top 10 Baseball America prospects for the 2003 season when Moore came in at number 6. And it said the first overall pick of the 2002 amateur draft featured 7 future All-Stars. The first round of the 2002 amateur draft featured 7 future All-Stars, and third baseman Scott Moore, 8th overall, was picked ahead of Nick Swisher, 16th, Cole Hamel, 17th, and Matt Cain, 25th. Worst of all was we can't make fun of Randy Smith for this one. Moore was Dave Nabrowski's first pick. Moore's Tigers career started off well. He hit 293 with an 808 OPS in Rookie League in 2002, but he hit just 239 and then 223 for West Michigan and Lakeland, respectively, the next 2 years before the Cubs acquired him. It was in the Cubs system where Moore began to realize some of his potential. He had at least 20 homers and stole at least a dozen bases the next 2 seasons for Daytona and West Tennessee. More recently, Moore hit 9 homers for the 2012 Astros and recently joined the A's. He's a career 242 major league hitter and a career 268 hitter over 11 minor league seasons. For a former top 10 pick, that's not good. And as we said, they mentioned there, for a while, Scott Moore was making waves in the Tigers minor league system. He started off well in the Gulf Coast League, putting up a slash line of 293, 349, 459, and 149 plate appearances in 2002. That's what you want to see from your high schooler in the first round. And his first season in low A ball at West Michigan was a bit underwhelming, but it was the power that came out in 2004 in Lakeland that Dabrowski would use to his advantage when he traded Moore in 2005. And Moore would bounce around between the Cubs, Baltimore, and Houston before calling it a career in 2015 when he was playing in the Cardinals AAA team in Memphis. Now, the Tigers would get good contributions in the 2002 draft from, of course, Curtis Granderson, and then later on Joel Zumaya. So not all was lost. Even Brent Cleveland was serviceable as an organizational outfielder and a highly ranked prospect for a little while. So it wasn't all that bad.
No, and it was one of those things where Zumaya's speed came on and he became such a difference maker. We know the rest of the story. Well, that's our first look at past Tiger drafts. Let us know what you think and subscribe to our channel for more content. Thanks for watching.